Hola, amigos, and welcome to Spain Impossible. I'm your host, Jim, and today we are talking about the 10 hacks that I used to lose 50 pounds in just 119 days. And I know that's getting specific, but if you think about it, it's basically 4 months. I'm down 50 pounds in 4 months. My original goal is 100 pounds in a year. So man, oh man, am I doing good. I am 2 months ahead of schedule. So today I'm going to dive right in and we are going to talk about the 10 hacks that I used to lose this 50 pounds. Stick around to the end because the last one is what kicked off this entire journey for me that started last year when I stumbled into this and lost 45 pounds in 100 days. Took some time off from that, thought I had it under control, and the weight started coming back on. So in April of 2025, I said enough's enough. I drew a line in the sand. I went back to doing what I had done last year. And while I didn't do quite as well, I lost 45 pounds in 100 days. This is 50 in 119. I also had a big lead up into the diet last year and I was heavier. So few things different. I lost more in the first 2 weeks. The first time around, this time around, I did not lose that extra added bonus, 10 pounds or so in the first 2 weeks. So that's probably what slowed it down. Anyways, enough's enough. 10 hacks, what I promised you. The first one is daily food tracking. If I put it in my mouth, I wrote it down. Didn't matter what it was. Obviously, I was trying to eat healthy. I stepped away from the standard American diet, stepped away from ultra processed foods, but I had some stumbles, but there's no shame. The tracking sheets are for you and for your eyes only. Write it down because it makes a difference. When you see something bad on the scale 2 days later and you're like, oh, you know what? That piece of birthday cake got me. But you know, because you wrote it down. So number 2 is the fiber instead of carbs hack. This happened last year when I lost weight, is I started to think of the third macro as fiber, not carbs. Because in reality, here in the United States particularly, we Americans get too much protein. The thing we're deficient in, only about 3% of the population gets the daily recommended dose of fiber. Most of the population is about half of the daily recommended 31.5 grams of fiber. So when I started, changed the way I thought, and I went, does this have fiber in it before I ate something? Especially if it was a carb. Because refined carbs, fiber's all stripped out. Sugar, all stripped out. There's no fiber in there. Is there fiber in an apple? You betcha. Is there fiber in certain loaves of bread if you go looking for the really good stuff? Absolutely. So it was more not cutting. I didn't cut carbs. I didn't cut fat. I changed the way I thought about carbs. If I was going to eat it and it was a carb, it had to contain fiber. And that's the fiber instead of carbs hack in a nutshell. Number 3 is the 3 T's hack. Now, over the course of my life, I've stumbled across all these little diet nuggets and things like that. You know, I'm in my 50s now. I just had a birthday, so I'm firmly in my 50s now. But I had read things and researched things, and you know, there was this thing called rooibos tea, and I believe it's mainly an African drink, South African maybe. And then there was another one from, you know, Asia that's called oolong tea. And the third and final one that I stumbled across and put together was hibiscus tea. Now, all three of these teas have been shown in scientific studies to assist in weight loss. They're not weight loss magic diet pills, but I had 2 cups of each of these teas every day. And I continue to have 2 cups of these teas every day. Those help immensely. Not to mention the fact that hibiscus is shown to help lower cholesterol and blood pressure. There's get over to the website, SpainImpossible.com. Under the health tab, there are free downloads, not even an email address required, about each one of these teas, as well as some other little hacks that I've found along the way. And I will be continuing to add things to the website over there as this all evolves. And if you want to know more about this whole thing, I have the Fat Loss After 50 podcast, which the whole blueprint is laid out step by step. I'm still doing steps because I'm only up to, I think the next one is step 9, and there will probably be 12, 13, 14, I don't know, wherever it stops, who knows. But it's not for sale. It's absolutely for free. Just watch the videos, download the tracking sheets, do what you got to do. But let's go on to number 4. Number 4 is the lemon juice and vinegar hack. Now, when you're losing weight, your body tends to store little bits of toxin in fat cells. So when you start losing fat, guess what happens to those little toxins? They reintroduce themselves into the bloodstream and go back through the liver again. Well, lemon juice supports your liver and helps with getting these toxins out of the body. And vinegar, it doesn't matter what kind of vinegar, it's acetic acid. It's the acid that makes vinegar vinegar. So it doesn't matter if it's apple cider vinegar, red wine vinegar, balsamic vinegar, white vinegar, whatever. It's just got to be a vinegar. That helps support your body through weight loss as well as a myriad of other things. I'm sure you've heard about apple cider vinegar for weight loss. So on to number 5. Number 5 is the nut and seed hack. So I used nuts and seeds to up my fiber intake, and if you pick the right ones, they are loaded with nutrition. Loaded. We're not talking about peanuts. We're not well, sunflower seeds actually have a lot of good nutrition in them. It's just that you can pack in so many of them in one mouthful that it's really hard to only eat an ounce of them. So I use tree nuts. My preferred is cashews. If you like walnuts, almonds, whatever, an ounce-ish a day. Look it up. They're known to help with lots of things like cardiovascular disease. Having an ounce of tree nuts a day helps with those things. I use things like sprouted pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, and chia seeds, and I combine all of that stuff in a daily routine. So I'm upping my fiber, upping my nutrition, simply by adding these small little things in that help keep you full and satisfied and satiated longer, so you're not struggling with hunger. So number 6, if I can count, is the fasted walking before breakfast hack. Now, this is a hack to get the most from your exercise. And what I do, I started off slow. I was walking like 10 to 15 minutes a day. Or not even a day. That was 2 to 3 times a week. I had 50 extra pounds on me. I had arthritic knees. I got bad ankles. I got flat feet. You name it, I got it. So I started slow. And it's the only way to go when you're starting a new diet. Why go kill yourself in the gym and blow yourself out of the water and never do it again? So I started with walking, and each time that I went for a walk, I would try to walk like an extra 10 feet, an extra 15 feet. And then the next time I had little cracks in the concrete trail or the asphalt trail. I'd be like, oh, I made it to this crack. So next time I got to try and get another 10, 15 feet. Sometimes it was a bush or a tree off to the side or somebody's shed. But I would earmark these things in my mind just so that I could continue to go. And now I'm up to over 30 minutes, 35, 36 minutes a day, 6 to 7 days a week. And what I'm working on now is speeding up my walks to try and get them within 30 minutes, 6 to 7 times a day, 6 to 7 times a week, not 6 or 7 times a day. walking the same distance, and I walk about 2.8 kilometers. So not super, super far, but I'm trying to up the speed, and eventually I will probably up the time that I'm allotting as well. So that's, and when you walk fasted before breakfast, because you woke up in the morning, you haven't had anything to eat, I usually just have a cup of oolong tea, put on my shoes, walk the dog. Boom, done. And then I come back and I have my second oolong tea and have my breakfast. But it's been scientifically shown that if you work out, particularly low intensity, zone 1, zone 2, which is walking and brisk walking, just to the point where you're, huffing and puffing a little bit, not killing yourself, you actually burn more calories as fat over the next 24 to 48 hours. So walking fasted before breakfast helps. That's all these hacks are, is things that I've found that have helped with the best diet I've ever been on in my life. I've dieted almost every year. I've been fat since I was 8 years old. Almost every year I have dieted, and none of them have worked this simple, this easy, and that's why I'm sharing it with the world in the blueprint over on the Fat Loss After 50 podcast. So let's go to number 7. Number 7 is fitting in small pockets of exercise throughout the day hack. So I work in an office and I'm in my little cubicle and I sit there and I do my work all day long, but I get up a few times a day and do some laps around the cubicles, 1,000 steps, 1,200 steps, whatever it happens to be, just 6-8 minutes. Sometimes I'll pause before I go up the stairs and lean on one of the stairs and, hit out a set of 10 push-ups, just things like that. It's finding small pockets of exercise so that you're increasing your movement without killing yourself in the gym or taking an hour to do it or setting aside a half an hour to do it. We're doing the walking as set aside time. It's finding these other little things that you can do throughout your day. So number 8 is a biggie, and it's one that a lot of people haven't heard of. I stumbled across it last year, and it is the chronobiology hack. What's chronobiology? That's what I said. It's like, what the heck is this? Chronobiology is in your circadian rhythm in your body. In the morning, you can eat, let's say, 700 calories of food. And they will affect your body differently than that exact same 700 calories at night for dinner. So it's a more positive effect in the morning and a more negative effect for dinner. So you hack chronobiology by having your biggest meal of the day for breakfast. So, and you can learn all about the meal sizes throughout the day in the blueprint. Number 9. I had to make sure I had the right number of fingers up there. The front-loaded intermittent fasting hack. Now, if you've heard of intermittent fasting and tried intermittent fasting, you probably tried it just like I did in completely the wrong fashion. I would eat my dinner, go to bed, get up in the morning and skip breakfast and push my lunch out as far as I could so that all my calories were in a 4 or 5, 6 hour window in the day. And then I would be fasted until the next day. So I was like, oh, well, cool. I'm hitting like a 16, 18 hour fast every day. And wrong answer. That's not the way that it works, because when you front load your intermittent fast, you finish eating early in the day. So dinner is earlier in the day, and it maximizes hack number 8, chronobiology. Because you're finishing your meals earlier in the day, you're not feeding yourself in that bad zone later in the day where chronobiology makes the calories that you eat there react differently in your body. So front loading your intermittent fast is about eating your dinner earlier and earlier. And you can experiment with it at least 3 hours before bedtime. Continue to push it back. Try 4 hours before bedtime, 5 hours before bedtime, 6 hours before bedtime. I was working 3 to 11 and I was eating at 7 o'clock. I am working 3 to 11 and I was eating dinner at 7 o'clock. So from 7 to midnight, I had 5 hours before I went to bed. Well, I've been pushing that back and pushing that back. And now my last meal of the day is at 2 o'clock, 2:15. And so I am front loading almost 10 hours in the intermittent fast hack. So now if you stuck around to this part of the video, before I go into number 10, I know this has been longer than what I thought it was going to be, but this is honestly the most important thing that I came across in order to lose 50 pounds in less than 120 days, in less than 4 months. So if you've made it this far, take a moment and subscribe. Give me the old thumbs up. Let YouTube know this old coot's got something good to share with people. And hey, drop me a comment. What was your favorite hack that I covered today? Or what was a hack that maybe you haven't tried or heard of before that I covered today? So number 10, the biggie, the right nutrition information hack. Once I decided to stop listening to all of the noise from all of these people that are clickbaiting people out on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever it is, with these little, blurbs that they pull out of context out of a scientific paper, and started following guidance that could be scientifically backed up in human trials, not in rat trials, not in mice trials, not in parakeet trials, but in actual human trials. And I stumbled across this a few years ago and started listening to it. And this is where a lot of these hacks came from, is just pooling up in my mind as I was listening to this. And it's linked at the bottom of all of my videos. It is nutritionfacts.org, which is a service that's run by Dr. Michael Greger. He is world renowned for nutrition, and it's evidence-based nutrition. In other words, he goes through the studies and he tells you exactly what the science really says in any given study. And he has years of videos and blogs and podcasts that literally you can go to nutritionfacts.org, type in a food or a condition, and it will bring up every time he has touched on that particular thing and give you a video, a blog, or a podcast to listen to. So once I found nutritionfacts.org, once I decided to stop listening to all the, whoever's out there that were clickbaiting people for views with information that lots of times was taken out of context, and started basing my nutrition information on actual factual scientific interpretation of what food does in the human body, I pulled this all together. This all fell out of my brain. That's what the blueprint comes from. That's what the Fat Loss After 50 podcast comes from. It works, it works, it works. And I continue to lose weight, 50 pounds down. I feel incredible. My cholesterol is down. My HbA1c is down. I'm no longer pre-diabetic. My blood pressure is down. All of these markers are just coming down and coming down and coming down and coming down. So if you want to know more, hop over to the Fat Loss After 50 podcast. Check out the steps in the blueprint. What the blueprint is it's a structured system to help you go from the standard American diet, which is causing us to add weight every year and increasing our risks of things like heart attack, stroke, high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes. And it takes you step by step to move you into a whole food, plant-based diet. And I say whole food, plant-based, as opposed to vegan or vegetarian, because I don't preach giving up all meat, all cheese, all everything. I've done it before, and it's very difficult to do. And that's why step by step, you slowly eliminate different foods until you're eating a whole food, plant-based diet. And along the way, you develop habits that are no longer hacks. They're subconscious, that you do them without thinking. So when you're in a restaurant ordering food, your brain doesn't even look at the things that it doesn't want to eat, because you have taught it, this is what I want to eat. So that's how this system changed my life. And I'm so glad and so happy to be sharing it with all of you for free. Not even an email address, because I don't have anything to sell. So hop over there, check it out, print out the tracking sheets, look up the nutritional stuff I've got on the website. And if you have any questions that I don't explain that good, go to nutritionfacts.org and Dr. Michael Greger will explain them to you way better than I can. But thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. And remember to come along for this journey, because it is going to be one hell of a journey. And it already has. Hasta luego.